everyone. Glad you could join us for another 30 minutes of News Generation. Hope you had a great week. We have lots to tell you. It was World Radio Day last Wednesday, and a number of you shared your thoughts about radio, just like the UN Secretary General, who spoke about listening to radio when he was a child. Ever heard about fuel subsidies or grants? We'll give you the inside story on that. Want to be an Olympic swimmer? Ghana probably has hundreds of young people who have the potential to beat Michael Phelps. So, the head of the Roman Catholic Church, the Pope, has announced he will be resigning. That definitely came as a surprise. News Generation, supported by
Omo, saving tough stains in just one step.
Cowbell Chocomalt, 4-in-1 value with a great new taste.
Indomie instant noodles, tasty nutrition, good for you.
Take a minute and imagine the world without radio. No news, no music, and no connection with the outside world. And what about people living in rural areas? Well, February 13 was World Radio Day, and the United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon spoke about how radio shaped his life as a young boy living in a poor village in Korea. Some of you also spoke to us about how empty your lives would have been without radio. This is the story.
As a young boy growing up in a poor village after the Korean War, we did not have much. No phones, no television. But we had something that connected us to the world outside our small village. We had radio, and radio helped open my eyes and ears to the world.
The United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Education, UNESCO, at its General Conference in 2011, declared February 13 as World Radio Day to mark the significance of radio around the world. Since its invention about 100 years ago, radio has served as a tool for change and development, as well as representing the voice of the voiceless in society. The history of radio dates back to the 1800s. In 1887, Heinrich Hertz became the first person to refine a system that allowed him to experiment with the sending of wireless signals to a wireless receiver. In 1892, a Serbian-Croatian immigrant to US, Nikola Tesla, demonstrated the first complete radio transmitter receiver system and became the first successful radio inventor. In 1900, an American, Reginald Fessenden, showed his new technology, which was used by the weather department for sending information to ships at sea. He invented the baretta detector, allowing him to develop amplitude modulation, or AM. The 1920s witnessed a true birth of radio, where almost every household owned one. Since then, radio has undergone significant transition from shortwave to frequency modulation, FM, to satellite transmissions. It remains widely accessible, relatively cheap, and connects millions of people who are thousands of miles apart. Despite its invention some 100 years ago, radio is still a critical part of our daily lives. Radio is not only the preserve of adults, but is also a powerful force that shapes the lives of many young people.
I listen to Joy FM, Drive Time on Joy FM, News at 6, and the Super Morning Show on Saturdays. There should be more radio stations, and people should be educated not to insult publicly on radio. The radio is meant to give information, not for personal use.
Normally all these things, we use them in subjects like social studies, so when you listen to them, it helps you to know sometimes also helps you to know what's going on in the nation. So it's very helpful.
A world without radio is like a world without parents. Radio, it makes us feel happy. At times when I'm sad and I do listen to radio, I'm happy.
Some of you will never miss listening to the news, music or inspirational and other favorite programs on radio. Let's forget the TV for a second and celebrate the radio stations around the world. Joy FM, BBC World Service, Adom FM, what would we do without you?
You may be paying higher bus fares on your way to school soon. That is, if government yields a call to remove subsidies on fuel. For years, government has paid grants on petroleum products to protect consumers from paying a higher price. But the National Petroleum Authority wants government to stop paying these grants on fuel if it cannot find money to pay. Some civil society groups, however, say removing these grants on fuel will increase costs on households.
For years, government has been paying grants on petroleum products to free consumers from paying the real price of fuel, which is widely described as fuel subsidies. The idea is aimed at reducing the burden on the poor or the average person from bearing the full cost of some petroleum products, including liquefied petroleum gas, petrol and diesel. So government pays a 20% grant on diesel and petrol. It also pays 66% on liquefied petroleum gas. Ghana buys crude oil at the world market prices. A barrel of crude oil is currently sold at $150, which is equal to 200 cedis. But consumers are still paying 165 cedis instead of its real price of 200 cedis, as government is paying the remainder through the subsidy. There is a school of thought that grants on these petroleum products does not benefit the poor. In particular, grants on liquefied petroleum gas benefit the rich, as most poor people in the country do not use gas cookers. This idea is shared by the International Monetary Fund official, Ms. Christiana Deskin, who in 2012 called on West African governments to remove these grants on fuel because they did not benefit the poor directly. Others believe that these grants should stay because the grant on kerosene helps those in rural areas. Some young people have also lamented on how the removal of these grants on fuel could affect them.
As at now, the economy is very high. You see, though there is single inflation, still prices have gone up. So if you take off this subsidy, the economy is going to be very, very bad.
The government too must understand us. You know, it's not easy for some people to just even board a car to school. You know, from my place, I live at Taifa. Coming to Accra High is 1 cedi. But some of my friends, they cannot even afford to board a car. So at times they do walk from Taifa to Achimota before they will board a car. So I think the government must have pity on us too.
But there are increasing calls on government to stop paying fuel subsidies. The central bank, that's the Bank of Ghana, this week added its voice to calls for grants on fuel to be taken away. Government spends 120 million Ghana cedi on fuel grants monthly. Last year alone, government spent close to 1.2 billion Ghana cedis on these grants. This amount is expected to increase to about 2.4 billion cedis if government continues to pay these grants. The National Petroleum Authority, which is responsible for regulating the petroleum sector, also urged government to remove fuel grants if the payments cannot be sustained.
So NPA is not saying that government shouldn't subsidize. What NPA is saying is that government should find the money. And if government can't find the money, then it should not say it is subsidizing and let the people pay the price so that they can get the fuel to do all the work they want to do.
But civil society groups, including Integrated Social Development Center, ISODEC, have rejected calls for the removal of these grants.
But the majority of the poor or the junior staff in most establishments will have to pay the full cost of the increases in fares, which is the result of a withdrawal of fuel subsidy.
So it has been an interesting 3 weeks for the new government. The President, John Mahama, suggested a list of people to help him with his work. They are known as ministers. Over the past few weeks, the Appointments Committee of Parliament has been interviewing the potential ministers to see if they are fit for the job. President John Mahama gave Parliament a list of 37 names of people he wants to help him run the country. These people are known as minister designates because they are only trying out for the position. Almost like applying for a job, an Appointments Committee of Parliament was set up to meet and assess the list of people through a process similar to a job interview.
Discomfort that our citizens are subjected to when they go and apply for visas, especially where there isn't a large enough holding center.
The minister designates then have to prove to the committee that they have what it takes to perform their roles. the committee will finally approve the ministerial appointment before the president can confirm his ministers. This is all spelled out in the 1992 Constitution of Ghana. So far, the president has sworn in 33 ministers.
At all times when required.
And that is the process of appointing ministers. Now, just a few ministers we think you might be interested in. Now, next week, we will visit the new Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Nanoye Letha, and take you on a tour of her ministry. You can send in any questions you would like to ask her. Remember, we're on Facebook and Twitter. Let's check out some other stories which made headlines in Ghana during the week.
Joy FM, in collaboration with the MTN Ghana Foundation, has launched a pilot reading club for 5 communities in Accra under the Joy FM MTN Read 100 project, an educational initiative. The project, which started as reading clinics for selected communities in 2010, aimed at bringing up interest and shaping reading skills of basic school children. The National Health Insurance Scheme will introduce biometric identity card later this year. The card will be issued instantly at the point of registration. NHIS will also start work on piloting electronic claims processing and host an extended stakeholder review of the capitation pilot in the Ashanti region to inform its improvements and the subsequent nationwide rollout of this provider payment method. The National Executive Council of the Ghana Medical Association has suspended their ongoing withdrawal of outpatient service until further notice. The decision was reached after a meeting between the Ghana Medical Association, the National Labour Commission, and the Fair Wages and Salary Commission in Accra. Bank of Ghana has stated that it is critical for the government to remove fuel subsidies in order to sustain the economic gains attained so far. It explained that the current high subsidies on fuel are unsustainable and risky to the economy, warning that the pressure related to fuel subsidies, utilities, salary settlements could offset the gains made in macroeconomic stability. The conjoined twins, who are pending separation at the Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital, are doing well a few days after feeling feverish. Doctors postponed the operation on Tuesday as the temperature of the babies rose above normal to about 40 degrees Celsius. Both female children, named Aidswell and Gift, are joined from the lower part of the chest through the abdomen.
Time for a break, but when we come back, we will be talking to some of you about your thoughts on Valentine's Day.
Sometimes a stained t-shirt can make you the happiest man. Now Omo Multi-Active removes even tough stains in just one step. Best ever stain removal from Omo.
When your kids need it all, there's only one drink that's got it. Cowbell Chocomalt. It's got the delicious taste of chocolate, the nourishment of malt, the all-round goodness of milk, and sugar for energy, all in one sachet. All I add is water, hot or cold. Now, that's real value. And that's real teamwork. Cowbell Chocomalt, 4-in-1 value with a great new taste.
Mommy, see 5 tomatoes. Okay, if I take one, how many will be left?
1, 2, 3, 4, 4.
Oh, that's my girl. Spell nutrition.
N-U-T-R-I-T-I-O-N.
That's my girl.
Will you spell nutrition?
Yeah, N-U-T-R-I-T-I-O-N.
Wow, a new spelling champion.
Yeah, that's my girl.
There's no mom like you, no noodles like Indomie. That's why caring mothers trust Indomie to give their best to their family.
That's my mom.
Indomie instant noodles, tasty nutrition, good for you.
Welcome back to News Generation. Now, this week we celebrated Valentine's Day with flowers, teddy bears, and chocolate. Some people wore red or red and white, but where did Valentine's Day traditions come from?
What I know about Valentine's is that people normally buy heart-shaped boxes with chocolate in them and show love to each other.
St. Valentine's Day, it was a day set aside to show love to your loved ones and like to show them how you feel about them. And on that day, you also give them like presents and gifts that you think that they will really like.
Valentine's Day can be traced back to both Christian and ancient Roman tradition. According to Christian legend, the day is named after Saint Valentine. He was a priest who lived in Rome during the rule of the Emperor Claudio II. In 270 AD, when Claudio II made marriage illegal because he believed that all men should be single so that they could better serve in his army. Against the decree of the emperor, Valentine performed marriages for young couples in secret until he was eventually discovered, exposed, and imprisoned on February 14th. The day became known as Valentine's Day. But why do we celebrate with love letters, cards, chocolates, and gifts?
Oh, because you love someone and you want to give something to someone you love. So then that's why. You could give other things to people. It depends on what the person would like.
Well, some believe that when St. Valentine was in jail, he sent a love letter to his jailer's daughter and signed it, Your Valentine, after which he became the symbol for sharing love. Whatever your beliefs, Valentine's Day has become a day that many look forward to spending with their loved ones.
And let's not forget that in Ghana, we also celebrate National Chocolate Day on Valentine's Day to promote locally made chocolate. Now, Pope Benedict XVI has announced that he is resigning. He will no longer be the head of the Roman Catholic Church. People all over the world are in shock as the Pope has not resigned for over 600 years.
Ad conditionem certam perveni, vires meas, in gravescente etate, non iam aptas.
This is the Pope announcing his resignation in Latin to the cardinals in the Vatican. A letter later translated explains why he will step down from his position at the end of February.
After having repeatedly examined my conscience before God, I have come to the certainty that my strength, due to an advanced age, are no longer suited to an adequate exercise of the Petrine ministry. In order to govern the back of St. Peter and proclaim the gospel, both strength of mind and body are necessary. Strength which is in the last few months has deteriorated in me to the extent that I have had to recognize my incapacity to adequately fulfill the ministry entrusted to me.
5 popes have resigned in the last 1,000 years, including Pope Benedict XVI, Pope Benedict IX, who resigned to get married, Pope Gregory VI, who was forced to resign for bribing his way into office, Pope Celestine V, after only 5 months in office for reasons only known to himself, Pope Gregory XII, who resigned so that there could be only one pope because for a while there were 2 heads of the Catholic Church. Interestingly, Pope Benedict XVI visited Africa twice most recently, Benin in 2011 and Angola and Cameroon in 2009. Many say that he will be remembered for his tolerance. His critics believe he did not adequately address the child sexual abuse cases among the priests in the Catholic Church. But we will remember him for being the most technology-savvy pope, having a Twitter page with over 1.5 million followers. A new pope will be elected in March this year. Many people, including experts and even celebrities, believe the time is right for an African pope. 2 West Africans are among the names being mentioned to fill the position of pope: Cardinal Francis Arinze, who is from Nigeria, and Ghana's own Cardinal Peter Appiah Texin. They will go through a process where 120 cardinals will vote to elect a new pope. Meanwhile, let's find out about what you think about the Pope resigning. And what do you think about having an African or Ghanaian Pope? On WhatsApp.
Pope Benedict XVI has announced his resignation later this month due to ill health and old age. He happens to be the first pope to resign in 600 years. There have been speculations about African popes. So what's up with all that? What do you think about the pope resigning and an African pope?
I'm very proud. Like, a pope from my country, that's something very nice, because it will also raise Ghana's esteem in other countries. But the pope being sick, I think it was right on his part to resign, because he knew it was for health reasons and he didn't want to have a heart attack or something. So I think it's good he did resign.
He's the first pope to resign on his own for about 600 years. So I think he's very old and he already has this health condition. And I think it'd be right if he decided to stop being the pope.
Well, I think Cardinal Appiah Texin should be the next pope, because he has exhibited good leadership qualities, and also he's an African, which should be like a milestone, and he'll be remembered. Like, everybody would like to be like him, and it will improve on the dignity of Africa.
I think everybody has to end what they do in life, so it's best if, let's say, he's had his fill on the job already, so he can resign when he feels to, but it's the people's decision. So they have to choose who is best for the job. And if he's really passionate about it, he can be nominated or chosen to be the new pope.
Thank you very much.
Because he's growing old and maybe he can't concentrate on it anymore, so he wants another person to take over. For the first time, someone from Africa will become the Pope and will be very happy.
Next week, we will bring you more on the selection process. Who knows, after the football and Azonto, Ghana could next become famous for heading the Catholic Church. So what else went on around the world? 37 pilgrims, including young people coming from the largest religious gathering on earth, lost their lives. Many were also injured during a stampede in a railway station in northern India. Every 12 years, pilgrims travel to take a dip in the Sangam River, which is where the 3 rivers of the East meet. This year, 40 million pilgrims attended. Many were still stranded in railway stations for days after the incident. The annual carnival came to an end in Latin America and the Caribbean. There were colorful street parades of costumes, music trucks and floats in countries including Brazil and Trinidad and Tobago. However, not everyone enjoyed the festivities, as some regional carnivals in Brazil were cancelled to cut costs. France has become the latest country where Parliament approved the bill which allows members of the same sex to legally get married. Following the discovery of horse meat in beef products made by Swedish-based frozen food brand Findus and other European manufacturers, European ministers have announced there will be stringent DNA tests for traces of horse meat. The scandal involves 16 countries, including producers, manufacturers, and consumers of the contaminated meat products. The head of the Catholic Church announced his decision to step down on February 28th. He was elected at the age of 78 and is the first pope to resign for hundreds and hundreds of years. Reasons for his decision have been speculated, but include the recent child sex abuse revelations which rocked the Catholic Church and ill health. There have also been speculations about his successor being Ghanaian Cardinal Peter Appiah Turkson. Time for another break. We'll do some sports when we come back.
Sometimes a stained t-shirt can make you the happiest mom. Now Omo Multi-Active removes even tough stains in just one step. Best ever stain removal from Omo.
When your kids need it all, there's only one drink that's got it. Cowbell Chocomalt. It's got the delicious taste of chocolate, the nourishment of malt, the all-round goodness of milk, and sugar for energy, all in one sachet. All I add is water, hot or cold. Now, that's real value. And that's real teamwork. Cowbell Chocomalt, 4-in-1 value with a great new taste.
Mommy, see 5 tomatoes.
Okay, if I take one, how many will be left?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, that's my girl. Spell nutrition.
N-U-T-R-I-T-I-O-N.
That's my girl.
Will you spell nutrition?
Yeah, N-U-T-R-I-T-I-O-N.
Wow, a new spelling champion.
Yeah, that's my girl.
There's no mom like you, no noodles like Indomie. That's why caring mothers trust Indomie to give their best to their family.
That's my mom.
Indomie instant noodles, tasty nutrition, good for you.
Welcome back to News Generation. Now let's do some sports. So, heard all the talk about the football trophy that we didn't get? Why not also concentrate on another sport which could get us the gold? Think about it. How many of us enjoy paddling in the muddy village river or at the beach? Although swimming is a global sport, little attention has been paid to it as a professional sport in Ghana. There could be an Olympic champion in our midst who grew up on the riverbanks or the seashore. You never know.
Let's face it, swimming is not the most recognized sport in Ghana, but it is a major sporting event at the Olympic Games. A lot of Ghanaians, especially young people, enjoy swimming recreationally. They throng our beaches to swim for fun and relaxation, but they could be equally trained for professional swimming careers.
I'll tell the Olympic Committee that if they will go to beach when it's occasionally, then they will find some who can swim very well so that they can pick them and train them very well.
I always told my dad that I want to be a professional swimmer in this world.
Salah Kashi, 8, and his younger sister Katyun Kashi, 7, are both swimmers.
Why do you like to swim?
Because I want to reach to Olympic. I like swimming. I was interested because swimming, when I do this, I feel well. From when I was smaller, when I wasn't feeling well, always I drank water or I was underwater. So now I can feel water.
Professional swimming involves a lot more than 2 hours of freestyle and a couple of cliff dives a week. According to experts, swimming lessons for potential Olympians must begin from an early age. Above all, the child must be passionate and consistent with their training.
People have to like what they are doing, okay? And the parents will have to encourage their children to also love swimming. So what does it take really? Passion determination, consistency.
The Swimming Association of Ghana has plans to train young Ghanaian Olympic swimmers.
Our plan mainly is on the young swimmers, and that's our focus. We want to groom them from now, and probably our plan is to be able to represent them at the Olympic Games in Rio de Janeiro in 2016. And apart from that, we also look at the other side of getting these young swimmers who live along the coast, because they already swim. All that they need is the technical skills.
So if you think you have a good backstroke or you are a skilled diver, look out for the activities coming to your school or contact the Swimming Association of Ghana for more information.
It's now time for Adelaide's Landmark of the Week, and this week we are taking a trip to the smallest nation in the world, the Vatican City, where the head of the Catholic Church lives. That's on Adelaide's Landmark of the Week.
The Vatican, also known as the Holy See, is home to the head of the Roman Catholic Church, the Pope. From these states within the city of Rome, the Pope ministers to a flock of more than 1 billion Roman Catholics around the world. The Lateran Treaty between Italy and the Holy See created an independent Vatican City in 1929. It covers an area of 0.4 square kilometers and has a population of about 800. Millions of tourists visit the Vatican every year. The Holy See maintains diplomatic relations with more than 150 countries, issues passports, coins and stamps, has a radio station and a publishing house, and a force of Swiss guards. John Paul II, the first non-Italian Pope in 455 years, was elected in 1978. Pope Benedict XVI was elected head of the Roman Catholic Church and Vatican City in 2005 after Pope John Paul's death.
I hope you know by now that you can also send us pictures of your favorite landmarks and we'll be sure to use them. Find us on Twitter and Facebook. Well, that's the kind of week it has been. Hope you had a great time with us. See you next week, but before we go, as always, we leave you with this inspirational quote. News Generation, supported by
Omo, saving tough stains in just one step.
Cowbell Chocomalt, 4-in-1 value with a great new taste.
Indomie instant noodles, tasty nutrition, good for you.